Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself truly dreaming about what your ultimate life would look like?
Hmm.
Not just a vague wish, I mean, but a really vibrant, detailed picture of what fulfillment means to you.
Yeah, we all do that, don't we?
We all have these deep-seated visions,
Yeah.
these desires for a life that feels authentic and joyful, truly ours.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's, I don't know, hitting a specific career milestone or finding that deep personal peace.
Or maybe really vibrant relationship.
Exactly. Or just waking up each day feeling purposeful.
Joy, sense of purpose, yeah.
It's this universal thing, isn't it? This drive for personal growth, for self-improvement, to
Yeah.
really step into the best version of ourselves.
It really is. But the big question always is, how?
Right. How do we actually go about transforming those dreams, those hopes into something tangible, into our lived reality?
Well, what's truly fascinating here with the source we looked at
Yeah.
is that it's not really about simple wishful thinking.
Not just manifesting by hoping.
No, not at all. It's about a deeply structured, actionable approach. So today, we're diving into this really valuable guide.
Okay.
It lays out a clear, step-by-step path to, as it calls it, attracting your ultimate life.
Attracting your ultimate life. I like the sound of that.
Me too. And this source outlines 5 essential keys. Think of them like practical stepstones for this
The
journey.
stepstones, okay?
And while, that phrase, attracting your ultimate life, might sound a bit simple, maybe even a little esoteric at first.
Yeah, maybe a little out there.
Right. But the source actually provides surprising depth. It's packed with practical strategies that really break down the how you turn those aspirations into, tangible daily experiences.
Exactly. So our mission today for you listening is to give you a clear roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help you navigate these transformative concepts without feeling overwhelmed, because self-improvement can feel huge, right?
Totally overwhelming sometimes.
And instead, hopefully help you find those illuminating aha moments, the ones that can genuinely shift your perspective and, well, push you forward.
Yeah.
We'll distill these 5 keys into actionable insights, give you a powerful shortcut to understanding the core principles, and crucially, how you can apply them directly, right now, in your own life.
And we're not just talking what the keys are.
No, we're digging into why they matter so much, how to actually approach them with practical steps.
And we'll use specific examples directly from the material we've studied.
Yeah, this is about real change, real application. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, the first key. Arguably the most foundational step to attracting the life you want, according to our source, is, well, it sounds deceptively simple.
It always does, doesn't it?
It does. It's know what you want.
Right.
Now, when you first hear that, you might think, well, of course I know what I want. I want to be happy, successful, healthy, the usual suspects.
Big, broad strokes.
Yeah. But the source immediately challenges that superficial understanding. It emphasizes this step is much easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
And this is where I think many of us fall into a common trap. We have a wonderfully general idea of what we want life to look like.
Like more financial freedom,
Or feel more at peace.
stronger relationships, things like that.
Exactly. And look, that general idea, it's a great starting point.
Mm.
But the source is unequivocal. It says that's simply not sufficient.
Not enough, no.
To truly create your ultimate life, you need something far more definitive and specific.
And this emphasis on precision, on specificity, it's absolutely crucial. Our source really drives home why this isn't just a nice to have, but a fundamental requirement.
Why is it so fundamental?
Because, and this is a direct quote, creating the life you want depends on your knowledge of it.
Okay, that makes sense. If the vision is fuzzy,
How can you possibly hit a clear target? It's like trying to program your GPS without putting in a precise destination. You'll just wander.
good analogy. Yeah. The guide says your vision should be precise and fleshed out for the best results. Think about it like being an architect.
Okay.
You wouldn't just tell the builders, I want a nice house.
No, you'd need blueprints, dimensions.
Materials lists, room layouts, exactly. That level of detail is what the source advocates for your life.
Wow. So really getting granular.
Really granular. It advises you need to spend a lot of time uncovering exactly what you want your ultimate life to look like.
A lot of time. That sounds potentially daunting.
It can be. And the source is honest about that. It acknowledges for some people this might come more easily. For others, it could feel like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I can see that.
But regardless of how easy or hard you find it initially, it's a step everyone needs to take with utmost seriousness.
Because that definitive vision, it's the bedrock.
It's absolutely the bedrock.
Yeah.
Everything else in your ultimate life is built upon it. Without it, you're essentially building on shifting sands. No clear foundation.
And if you're anything like me, you might immediately be thinking, okay, but how? How do I get that specific? Sometimes my brain just feels like a tangled mess when I try to pinpoint deep desires.
Especially if they seem to conflict, right?
Exactly. So what tools does the source suggest?
Well, it provides some fantastic practical tools for this discovery process. It suggests combining two really powerful tasks,
Yeah.
meditating and journaling.
Meditation and journaling together.
Yes, together. When you consciously use them in tandem, you can get a better idea of what's been bothering you in your life and what you want to change.
So meditation isn't just about chilling out here.
Not just relaxation, no. It's
Okay.
about quieting that constant mental noise, the daily distractions, allowing your mind to settle.
Creating space.
Exactly. Creating space for those deeper aspirations, your true values, your authentic desires to sort of gently surface.
And then journaling comes in.
And journaling acts as the perfect partner. It gives you a tangible, structured way to capture those insights, which can be fleeting.
Right. Write them down before they disappear.
Yes. Explore them in detail, challenge your own assumptions, and really solidify that self-reflection. The advice is clear. Journal for several days until you feel confident in your answer.
Several days. So it's not a quick one-off thing.
Definitely not. It's an immersive, ongoing exploration of your deepest self, like having a conversation with yourself on paper.
I like that. A conversation with yourself.
Precisely. Journaling gives you that vital, tangible record. You can see patterns, motivations, even desires you didn't realize you had.
Mm-hmm. Externalizing the internal landscape.
Exactly. Makes it easier to analyze and shape.
Hmm.
But what if even after days of meditating and journaling, you still feel lost, still struggling to articulate that ultimate life?
Yeah, what then?
This is where the source makes a really surprising but I think incredibly insightful recommendation.
Oh, what is it?
It says, if you still don't know what you want your ultimate life to look like, consider professional help.
Professional help, like a therapist.
Exactly, like a therapist.
Now, I can absolutely imagine some people hearing that and thinking, whoa, hang on. A therapist, isn't that just for, like, severe mental health issues or major problems?
That's a very common thought, isn't it? A common misconception. And the source tackles this directly.
How so?
It counters with a really powerful assertion that therapists are exactly what they're here for. It clarifies that professionals in this field can play a pivotal role in helping you enhance your life and attract your desires.
Even if you don't have a diagnosed condition.
Even without a diagnosed mental health issue, yes.
Mm.
This reframes therapy completely.
How does it reframe it?
It positions it not just as a treatment for illness, but as a powerful, proactive tool for self-development.
Proactive. I like that.
It's like having a guide to help you navigate your own inner world, articulate desires buried under layers of, assumptions, societal expectations, past stuff.
Yeah, all that baggage we carry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This raises an important question, really, that challenges how we usually think. Why don't more people consider a therapist for this purpose?
Because we tend to see it only through that lens of pathology or crisis.
Precisely. But the source explicitly broadens that view. It highlights their role in helping uncover your true potential and ultimate goals in life, even without a diagnosed issue.
So they can provide that objective perspective.
Objective perspective, a structured framework, specialized questioning techniques, things like Socratic questioning or values clarification exercises.
To help you explore limiting beliefs, past patterns.
All of it. Stuff that might be obscuring what you truly desire. They help you sift through the noise, find clarity where you just saw confusion before.
It really does reframe therapy, then, as a legitimate tool for proactive self-discovery, for advanced personal growth.
Absolutely. It's powerful stuff.
So ultimately, the source reassures us, through this dedicated process, meditation, journaling, maybe therapy, you'll figure out what you want.
Yes. The clarity will come.
But before rushing on to the next step, there's one last critical checkpoint.
Yes. This is important.
The source stresses, with real importance, that you must make sure that you are happy with the image of your ultimate life.
Happy with the image itself.
Yes, because, as it says, if you aren't happy with your image, you won't be happy with the results either.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? It means this first step. It isn't something to rush.
Definitely not.
It's the absolute bedrock, the foundation for everything else. You need to feel that deep, resonant alignment, excitement, genuine joy with the vision you've created.
That feeling, that emotional connection.
That's the magnet, right? That's the force that will pull you forward and sustain you through the tough stuff.
Absolutely. Without that intrinsic happiness with your own vision, even the most perfect plan will just feel like, well, like a chore.
Yeah, just another thing on the to-do list.
Exactly.
All right, so you've done the vital work, maybe challenging work. You've figured out exactly what you want your ultimate life to look like. That specific, fleshed out vision.
Which is huge. A major accomplishment in itself.
Absolutely, a significant first step. But, as our source meticulously points out, knowing what you want, that's only step one.
Just the beginning.
That crystal clear vision, no matter how inspiring it is, it won't magically manifest itself. Poof! If only.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, this brings us directly to key two. Create an action plan.
The bridge.
The crucial bridge, exactly, between aspiration and actually living it. The source is really clear here. Your action plan is what will turn your dreams into a reality.
No ambiguity there.
None. It makes it abundantly clear. It isn't enough to know what you want. You have to be willing to act in accordance with your wants.
You have to do something.
You have to do something, and the action plan is the mechanism, the how. It makes consistent, tangible action possible. It's your detailed blueprint for moving forward intentionally.
Indeed. And a truly comprehensive action plan, according to the source, it's way more than just a vague to-do list you might scribble down.
Right, not just be happier. No. It needs to be meticulously layered. It talks about incorporating daily goals, weekly goals, monthly milestones, and yearly milestones.
Okay, layers. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly.
Think of it like nested goals. Each smaller achievement feeds into the next one. It builds this relentless momentum towards that bigger vision.
Ah, I see. So it breaks it down.
Exactly. And this layered approach, it serves a really critical psychological purpose too.
Which is?
By incorporating all of these goals and milestones in your action plans, you have something tangible to look forward to. You're not just waiting for some distant abstract future.
You're celebrating progress along the way.
Yes. Hitting micro victories that keep you engaged, motivated, reminded that you are moving forward.
Can you give an example of how that might look?
Sure. Let's say your yearly milestone is launching a new creative business.
Okay, big goal.
Big goal. Your monthly milestones might be finishing the business plan, or securing some additional funding, or building the website.
Makes sense. Breaking it down.
Then your weekly goals could be researching competitors, or creating 5 pieces of content for it.
Getting more specific.
And your daily goals might be dedicating, say, 2 solid hours to a specific task, or reaching out to one potential client or contact.
Ah, okay. So each small step builds towards the big one.
Yeah.
Makes it feel less overwhelming.
Precisely. Less overwhelming, more achievable.
And it's crucial to understand it's not just about listing the goals either, is it?
No, that's a very common mistake.
Yeah.
People write down admirable objectives, but then the follow-through, it falters.
Yeah, the how is missing.
Exactly. The source emphasizes that your plan also has to include actionable steps so that you can accomplish your goals. It's not enough to say my weekly goal is gym 3 times.
You're right. Too vague.
Too vague. The source gives a super practical example. For that gym goal, create an actionable plan in which you specifically list out what activities you're going to do and at what time you are going to do them.
Ah, the specifics.
The specifics. So instead of just gym, your plan becomes Monday, 7 a.m., 30 minutes cardio, 20 minutes weights.
Okay, much clearer.
Or for a writing goal, not just write a chapter, but Tuesday, 8:10 a.m., outline chapter 3, write 500 words of the intro.
That level of specificity, it takes the guesswork out.
It totally eliminates decision fatigue, removes friction, makes it much easier to just do the thing instead of wasting mental energy figuring out what the thing even is each time.
That's smart. What's also incredibly insightful and often overlooked is this forward-thinking aspect you mentioned.
Yes. The plan needs to anticipate roadblocks. The source wisely advises incorporating possible triggers that could make you lose focus of your ultimate goals.
Triggers? Like what?
Well, it gives a really relatable example. Going to sleep too late may cause you to ignore your morning workout.
Guilty.
Right, we've all been there. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about strategically anticipating these things, understanding your own human nature.
Designing your environment and schedule to support the goals, not fight against them.
Exactly. It's proactive. You're planning for reality, not just the ideal scenario.
And it differentiates between 2 types of derailment, which I found really helpful.
Yes, that's key for self-compassion and effective planning.
First, there are times when it's genuinely impossible for you to accomplish your goals for the day. Like you wake up sick.
Or a family emergency hits. Or a work crisis blows up. Unavoidable things.
In those cases, the source advises, what?
It's really comforting, actually. Don't sweat it and go with the flow instead. Give yourself grace. Life happens.
Oh, okay, that's good to hear. But then there's the second type.
Yes. The one we often struggle with more. When you simply won't want to follow your action plan because of whatever triggering event happened before.
Lack of motivation, discouragement, feeling tired.
Exactly. And this is where that pre-planned strategy becomes absolutely vital. The source says you need it so that you continue following your action plan no matter how discouraged you may feel about it.
So like having a backup plan for your motivation?
Precisely. Maybe it's a pre-scheduled check-in with an accountability partner, or having a healthy meal prepped for when you know you'll be tired.
Or even just a motivational note you wrote to yourself earlier.
Yes, something ready to deploy when resistance hits.
When we connect this to the bigger picture then, this action plan element, it's not just about discipline, is it?
Not just rigid discipline, no. It's profoundly about self-awareness and strategic resilience.
Strategic resilience, I like that term.
It's planning not just for success when everything's going perfectly, but for the inevitable bumps, the moments motivation dips, when life interferes, when that inner resistance pops up.
Recognizing the journey won't be a straight line upwards.
Exactly. It acknowledges reality. By building in these contingency plans, you equip yourself not to completely derail, but to pivot, adapt, and keep moving forward, even if it's slowly.
Building a robust strategy that accounts for the messy reality of life.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, here's where I think it gets really interesting and often quite challenging for many of us.
I know where you're going.
So, you've got your vision, you've crafted your action plan. Now, our source highlights a critical, non-negotiable part of that plan, focusing on bad habits and other things that are holding you back.
Key 3, let go of things that are holding you back.
Yes, and the core principle here is powerful, direct, almost undeniable. Only by changing the bad habits into good ones will you be able to live your ultimate life.
You have to clear the decks.
Totally. If you're building a magnificent new building, you first have to clear away the debris, right? Dismantle old, unstable foundations, remove obstructions.
Makes perfect sense.
The source talks about the common mistake of carrying around a lot of unnecessary baggage, and the examples it gives are so diverse.
Yeah, covers a lot of ground.
Everything from toxic relationships that drain your energy,
To childhood trauma that unconsciously shapes your reactions.
or even seemingly smaller things like poor eating habits that just undermine your well-being.
It really spans the emotional, the historical, the habitual.
It does. So what's the ideal state we're aiming for instead?
The ideal state, as the source puts it, is that when trying to build your ultimate life, you want all of your habits, mindsets, and activities to be nourishing, uplifting, and healthy.
Nourishing, uplifting, healthy. Creating an environment, internal and external, that actively supports growth.
Exactly. Actively fuels your energy, aligns with your vision, like clearing weeds and rocks from a garden so the good stuff can actually grow.
But the source is realistic here too, isn't it? It doesn't expect an overnight purge.
No, thank goodness. It acknowledges that it will be impossible to let go of all things that hold you back at once. That would be overwhelming.
So what's the approach?
It advises approaching this strategically. Start with one item at a time.
One thing at a time, manageable.
Yes. Prevents overwhelm, builds confidence as you succeed with one thing.
And if you're new to this, where does it suggest starting?
It gives a really practical advice here.
Yeah.
Start with small things that are tangible and easier to let go of.
Tangible, like physical objects.
Exactly. This approach is brilliant because it lets you build confidence, get small wins, gather momentum for the harder stuff later.
Let's give an example.
It gives a very specific yet powerful one. A gift from an abusive ex is a great place to start.
Wow.
The advice: simply throw it away so that it is physically and emotionally away from your life. That physical act.
Can be incredibly symbolic, liberating.
Absolutely. A clear signal, a break, creating space, asserting your commitment to your own well-being.
And this is presented as a skill you build up.
Explicitly. Like building a muscle. As you get stronger, letting go of smaller, tangible things, you can then progressively tackle bigger, more emotionally charged stuff.
Like what?
The source mentions own personal traumas, or individuals who are not uplifting, helpful, or beneficial in your current life.
That sounds incredibly challenging, letting go of people dealing with trauma.
Profoundly challenging. Often involves deep emotional attachments, fear, maybe even part of your identity is tied up in it.
So how do you navigate that difficulty?
The source doesn't shy away from it. It stresses the paramount importance of firmness. It's important that you stay firm in this phase, even if you feel guilty or a bit scared.
Staying firm despite the discomfort.
Yes. Recognizing the guilt or fear might arise when you shed old patterns or relationships, but choosing to stay committed to your ultimate self anyway.
This raises that important question again. For so many of us, letting go is deeply emotional.
Deeply. Whether it's an object with painful memories or setting boundaries with family.
So the source's wisdom is in acknowledging that difficulty.
Yes. By advising starting small and emphasizing staying firm. It recognizes there might be grief, guilt, fear of the unknown when you release something that, even if it was bad for you, felt familiar.
But it highlights that doing so is essential.
Absolutely essential for creating the mental, emotional, even physical space for new growth, for the ultimate life you're trying to build.
You can't fill a cup that's already full of stale water.
Precisely. You have to pour out the old to make genuine room for the nourishing new, creating an internal vacuum that your ultimate life can rush in to fill.
Okay, so vision established, action plan crafted, letting go is underway. What's next?
Now we need to make sure we stay on course, stay adaptable, keep evolving.
Which brings us to key 4. Track your progress and fine-tune your plan.
Exactly. As you're working through your action plan, accomplishing goals, the source powerfully advises you must keep track of your progress.
This isn't just admin, then.
Not just busy work, no. It's fundamental for sustained growth, effective navigation. Why? By tracking your progress, you know how you are doing, what you need to improve, and what you are doing great on.
It's feedback, objective feedback.
Like a dynamic GPS for your life journey. Constantly telling you if you're on track, if you need a course correction, maybe if there's a better route.
And how should you track? Does it specify tools?
It's wonderfully flexible here. It acknowledges if you are a traditional person, you can track your progress using the classic pen and paper method.
Nothing wrong with a good notebook?
Absolutely not. That tactile satisfaction. But if you prefer digital, it confirms, for more advanced tracking, you can use apps on your phone instead.
Lots of those available. Habit trackers, goal apps.
Loads. The crucial takeaway isn't how you track, but the unwavering commitment that you track it consistently.
So it doesn't matter what tool you use.
It doesn't matter what you use, as long as your progress is being tracked.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency in monitoring is the real key.
And that tracking, it's not just for patting yourself on the back.
Celebrating wins is important, but no, it's equally, maybe more, for precise calibration, fine-tuning.
Right? By tracking your progress, you can see what parts of your plan are not working.
And this is where the advice is really smart, maybe counterintuitive if you believe in just pushing harder.
What's the advice?
Instead of trying to make your plans work, when they obviously won't, fine-tune your plan so that it is more efficient, applicable, and easy to follow.
Don't force it. Adapt.
Exactly. Don't beat yourself up. Don't force a square peg in a round hole. Don't abandon the goal. Adapt the strategy.
Does it give an example for this?
Yes, a great practical one. Remember the gym goal, going 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Let's say in your initial plan, you schedule it for the morning, but you find it's just impossible to wake up in time. You keep missing it.
Okay, happens to the best of us.
Right. Instead of continually missing sessions and feeling bad, the advice is change the time so that you are more likely to attend them. Maybe evenings work better, or lunchtimes.
Adjust the strategy to fit reality. Don't abandon the goal. Precisely. And this fine-tuning, it's not just for when things aren't working.
No. This brings us to another critical aspect. Continuous improvement, active growth. The source emphasizes it's important that you continue to fine-tune your plan as you improve too.
As you get better at things.
Yes. Because once your goals and tasks start feeling too easy, they stop challenging you. They stop fostering growth.
They become stagnant.
Exactly. Once the goals and tasks get too easy, you will want to make them slightly more difficult so that you truly push yourself and grow. Allowing the task to feel stagnant will not help you at all.
Like strength training. If you always lift the same weight,
your muscles stop adapting. Same principle. Your goals need that progressive resistance for your life. As soon as a goal feels automatic, unchallenging,
it's time to level up.
time to level up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stagnation creeps in, motivation dies. You need to seek that sweet spot of productive challenge.
That makes so much sense. It keeps things engaging. Does the source illustrate this too?
It does. With another relatable example, let's say one of your goals was journal once a week.
Okay.
If you're now doing that without even thinking about it, it's automatic, maybe even feels a bit routine.
Time to fine-tune.
Right. The suggestion, you might want to journal 2 times a week. That small increase reintroduces a challenge.
And once you master that,
Kick it up further. Maybe explore specific prompts, dedicate more time, go deeper in reflection. Consistently stretching that comfort zone, even slightly.
ensuring you're always moving forward, always expanding.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is the emphasis on perpetual motion, evolution. The source states it so clearly. There will never be a point when you should stop fine-tuning your plan.
Never.
Never. Because your goals and vision of your ultimate life will change with you.
Ah, so it's not a one-and-done project. Achieve ultimate life, then coast.
Not at all. It's a lifelong, dynamic partnership with your evolving self. Your ultimate life isn't some static destination you arrive at.
It's the process.
A fluid, dynamic process of becoming, adapting, growing alongside your own changes. You fine-tune constantly, striving for more, staying aligned with who you are becoming, creating the best life possible, right up until the end.
Wow. That's a profound way to look at it. Okay, so we've covered know what you want, create an action plan, let go, track and fine-tune. Now we arrive at the fifth key.
And according to the source, the most important one.
Key 5. Be persistent.
Persistence.
It might seem obvious, right? Who wouldn't be persistent if they truly wanted their ultimate life?
Sounds simple again.
But its importance can't be overstated, because the source is incredibly realistic here, empathetic.
It acknowledges the struggle.
It totally does. It acknowledges that even if you start out super motivated, energized, there will come times when your motivation is dwindling, and you may even want to give up.
That feeling is guaranteed to happen.
Guaranteed, not just possible. It's part of being human, right? That urge to revert, to settle.
Absolutely. And it was precisely on those days, the challenging ones, when you feel deflated, tired, discouraged.
That's when persistence matters most.
That's when it's more important than ever to be persistent. The source states it plainly. Only through persistence will you reach your goals and live the ultimate life. Tackle the problem head-on with persistence.
Tackle it head-on, so not waiting for motivation to magically reappear.
No. Acting despite the lack of motivation. Showing up. Taking that one small action.
Yeah.
Pushing forward even when you really, really don't want to.
Persistence isn't a burst of energy then.
It's the steady, unwavering application of effort over time. Especially when it's hard.
And since the source says setbacks and laziness are guaranteed to happen, which is wonderfully honest.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
No sugarcoating.
It wisely advises finding ways to keep yourself motivated beforehand.
Proactive resilience again. Building that reserve.
Yeah, like an emotional and mental emergency kit, so you can quickly access reminders whenever you feel tempted to give up and settle for mediocrity.
Having that ready-made counter-argument for the inner critic that says, just quit.
What kind of strategies does it suggest for this preemptive motivation?
It offers several really practical ones. For visual people, for instance, creating vision boards and visuals are great ways to keep you motivated.
Ah, the vision board.
It's powerful because you can physically see your dreams and be reminded of what is possible if you just stick to the work. It's a daily, tangible beacon.
Keeps your why front and center.
Engages the subconscious. And, crucially, remember to update your vision board as your goals and ideal ultimate life change. It connects back to that fine-tuning.
Okay, so visuals work for some. What else?
Another great avenue, especially if you connect with words, is to read books and quotes.
Finding inspiration in reading.
Yeah. The source points out, accurately, there are tons of books about staying motivated and even more quotes. They're everywhere.
So the advice is to curate them.
Intentionally curate them. By having a collection of quotes ready for when you feel down, you can quickly remind yourself about why you are working by picking up the collection.
Like having little sparks of inspiration on hand for when the fire feels low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or when self-doubt creeps in. A quick mental reset.
Beyond these external tools, the source also talks about the mindset, right? The link between optimism and persistence.
Yes, a deep symbiotic connection. Optimism and persistency go hand in hand.
And the opposite is also true. Pessimism hinders persistence.
It warns that if you're pessimistic and a victim of a fixed mindset, you are less likely to be persistent when the worst happens.
A fixed mindset.
Ah.
That's believing your abilities are static. Unchangeable.
Right. Telling yourself, I'm just not disciplined or I'll never be consistent, that belief itself becomes a huge barrier.
So how do you counter that? Cultivate optimism.
Exactly. Cultivate an optimistic or growth mindset believing abilities can be developed through dedication, hard work. And if you struggle with pessimism, it specifically suggests a gratitude journal.
Gratitude journal, how does that work?
Simple, but effective.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, try to add at least one new thing to the list. It forces your brain to actively look for the positive.
Training your brain.
Yes. Then, whenever you feel pessimistic, pull out your gratitude journal. Read the things you're grateful for. Then try to add something new so that your mind is put back into an optimistic frame.
It shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, building that positive neural pathway.
It actively rewires your brain. It's not just about feeling good, it's cognitive restructuring.
And perhaps the toughest part of persistence, handling setbacks. Failure.
This is crucial. The advice is firm, challenging our instinct to despair. When failure comes, still stay optimistic.
Still stay optimistic even when you failed. That sounds hard.
Although this is difficult, it acknowledges it is the key to being persistent. Instead of seeing failures as dead ends or personal flaws,
Reframe them.
reframe them as opportunities to grow and learn. It's a fundamental shift. Seeing discovery instead of defeat.
Every stumble is data. Feedback.
Exactly. An invaluable piece of feedback showing what didn't work, allowing you to adjust, learn, try again with new wisdom, essential for resilience.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture again, persistence isn't just trying harder, gritting your teeth.
Not just brute force, no.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating this sophisticated mindset, viewing obstacles as data points for learning, not endpoints signaling defeat.
This whole proactive approach to motivation safeguards, cultivating optimism, reframing failure, it's really insightful.
Truly transformative. It's understanding the path will have bumps, detours, tumbles, but you can equip yourself with the mental tools not just to survive them, but to learn and thrive through them.
But the source doesn't pretend it's easy, right?
No, it reiterates with realism, by doing all of these things, you are more likely to be persistent, though the job will still be tough. It doesn't sugarcoat the effort, but it arms you with strategies to meet it.
Okay, so we've taken a really comprehensive deep dive into these 5 essential keys, laid out with such clarity in our source material.
It's a powerful framework.
Let's just quickly recap them. First, know what you want. Get incredibly specific. Paint that vivid picture. Use help if needed. Clarity is power. Key 1.
Second, create an action plan. Build that layered blueprint daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and include strategies for triggers and setbacks.
The bridge to reality. Key 2.
Third, let go of things that are holding you back. Bravely clear out the baggage, toxic relationships, old habits, limiting beliefs. It's a gradual skill.
Making space. Key 3. Fourth, track your progress and fine-tune your plan. Consistently monitor. See what works, what doesn't. Adapt your strategy as you grow. Continuous improvement.
The dynamic GPS, key 4.
And finally, the most important key, be persistent. Because setbacks and doubts are inevitable. Unwavering dedication, bolstered by strategies and optimism, sees you through.
The engine, key 5.
The source wraps up with some really profound final thoughts. Offers a dose of reality, but also encouragement.
Yes, it states very honestly, living your ultimate life certainly is a challenge.
No illusions there.
And it points out, although it looks easy in the movies, it is much more difficult in reality. You will have to work very hard.
Hard work is required, both to attract it and maintain it.
Exactly. And what makes it even more challenging, but also kind of exciting, is that the process never stops.
Why not?
Instead, your ideal ultimate life will change as you change. As you grow, learn, experience more, your vision evolves.
Linking back to that idea of the evolving self.
Precisely. So as a result, the process of fine-tuning the plan is ongoing until the end of your life.
Wow, until the end.
Because attracting desires,
Yeah.
living your ultimate life, it's a long-term task, a marathon, not a sprint. So the advice is, take your time, be patient, and be persistent.
Patience is key too. It's a continuous dance.
A continuous dance with your evolving self and dynamic goals.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now as you start applying these insights?
The source offers some very practical, reassuring advice against that urge for immediate, drastic change.
What's the advice?
It says you don't need to make tons of changes overnight. That kind of massive overhaul often leads to burnout, right? Abandoning goals.
Yeah, it's too much too soon.
Instead, it powerfully encourages you to incorporate these tips into your life gradually so that they're more likely to stick and you're able to get the life you want.
Small, consistent steps, sustainable habits.
Let them become part of your everyday fabric. Small steps, patiently applied, build powerful, lasting momentum.
That's really encouraging.
And if you take nothing else away from this whole deep dive, remember this single most important message from the source. Persistence is absolutely necessary.
Persistence.
The cornerstone.
It begins with knowing what you want. Yes, that clarity is foundational. And you need the plan, the strength to let go, the ability to track and adapt. All vital.
But ultimately,
It's that unwavering, persistent commitment to the journey itself. Day after day, year after year. That's what truly makes the difference. That's what brings that ultimate life into being.
that really hits home.
And this raises, I think, an important final question for you to ponder as you reflect on all this.
Okay.
If our ultimate life is always changing, if it's this dynamic vision that evolves with us, does the pursuit of it, the journey itself, then become the ultimate life, rather than some fixed destination we finally arrive at?
Is the journey of becoming your ultimate self the ultimate life?
Something to think about. That is a truly thought-provoking way to end our deep dive. We really encourage you, our listener, to reflect on that idea and maybe consider which of these 5 keys resonates most with you right now, where you are today.
Just pick one, perhaps.
Yeah, just choose one and think about how you might start incorporating its wisdom, even in a small way, into your life starting today. We genuinely hope this deep dive has given you clarity, actionable insights, and maybe some powerful inspiration for your own magnificent journey toward attracting your ultimate life.